Hello and welcome to Americans Talk Australian Survivor. I'm Rachel.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks for joining us. There will be spoilers ahead for episode 11 of Australian Survivor Titans vs. Rebels. So before we get into it, I wanted to thank everyone who has left us positive ratings on Apple Podcasts. And if you have a quick moment and are willing to type out a quick review, written review about our podcast, that would really help us to find more Australian Survivor fans and spread the podcast. So we would appreciate your time with that. Then thank you to everyone over on Instagram for weighing in on our poll yesterday. We asked who Caroline should work with moving forward. Should it be Mark or Rihanna? And the majority voted for Rihanna, although it was a tight vote. So we'll see this episode if that is what she ends up doing. And a few other Instagram updates. I saw that Aileen shouted out Ferris for having the idea to write down both Winna and Charles last night in that 3-person vote.
Excellent. Good idea.
Yeah, we had to assume that it was Aileen's idea because she's always coming up with fast plans, but great job, Ferris. That was very smart. Another thing that we noticed on Instagram in last night's episode on Sunday night, Raymond had made that comment about how Aileen didn't really have anything to go back to, and it was just kind of totally out of left field. We were not really getting that vibe from Aileen, and so it kind of surprised us, so we didn't really mention it on the podcast, but he did put on Instagram that he publicly apologized, and Aileen said that she has no hard feelings. So we're happy to see that everyone's able to move on. I don't know what that comment was about, maybe just a weird slip of the tongue. But I'm happy to see that everyone's happy moving forward.
Right. It was weird they put that in the show, but I'm glad that he apologized, and I hope they're friends.
It seems like it, yeah. It seems like everyone from the show seems to get along, at least from what we can see on social media at this time.
Excellent.
So let's finally jump into the episode. So we start off on the Rebels tribe, and Alex shares that Jaden is basically on a Survivor holiday.
He's just dancing and having a lot of fun, no worries.
Yeah, and he said that he doesn't feel like he has a target on his back, and he thinks he's in a great position.
So then we switch to the Titans, day 23, and they're saying goodbye to Charles' socks.
Yeah.
So Valeria said that she's pretty sad about Charles leaving, which makes sense because it's day 23, so that means for 22 days she's been working with Charles and Winna, seeing them every day, so that would be pretty weird.
Yeah, and she says that they lost one of their soldiers at the last tribal, so that it is sad how she really feels like, she lost a friend.
But she's willing to stick with Kirby.
Yeah, and she said she just doesn't trust Aileen. And then it shows that Aileen, Val, Winna, and Kirby are talking, and Val seems to be questioning Aileen quite a bit. And Aileen says, well, I know I'm on the chopping block.
Yeah, so Aileen is aware that she's a massive threat, especially after last night's challenge. She really knocked it out of the park, winning immunity first and coming up with a great plan, although, of course, Ferris had part of that as well. I am worried for Aileen that she's becoming too big of a target too fast. It's not even the merge yet, and she's already made some pretty big moves and is a massive threat.
Right, and when she so definitively won that challenge at Tribal last night, that really put a target on her back, I think, right? I mean, do you want to go up against her in individual immunity when the merge happens?
And we saw later this episode that she's good at endurance as well.
Right.
And then we see a total different vibe on the Rebels Island. We see Eden. They're playing charades.
Having a good time, laughing.
The main character doing this. And yeah, everyone seems happy. And Mark, he feels that he's in a good position. And he's talking about the merge. And he says that he feels that they are all set.
Kitty, Caroline, and Mark.
Yeah, I'm surprised as a diplomat that he feels that way.
I wonder if it could be because they haven't been to Tribal in a few days. Everyone's kind of relaxing, letting their guard down, having fun. And I wonder if they had gone right back to Tribal the next night, if things would have been different. But now that everyone's had time to cool down, maybe Mark thinks, okay, I guess I'll work with them. They're my best option.
Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't look like his best option, but I'm not positive. No. I guess he has to try something.
Yeah, but I don't understand why he's so confident.
Right. He should be a little more leery.
Yes.
As the audience, we can see that Caroline is saying she does not trust Mark at all. She wants him out, but she is putting on a good show to his face. Right. So maybe he's just buying into it.
And that's something you have to do sometimes to be the leader. I mean, she's trying to be the leader of everyone, I think.
Well, she's doing a good job. So you see Kitty, Caroline, and Reed talking, and Reed saying, get Mark out. He's too good of a player. He's close with Val and Winna. And so then Caroline says, yep, I'm done with Mark.
Which is interesting coming from Rihanna because she has her closest ally, Kirby, on the other side. So, of course, she has to pitch anything to, save herself. But it is kind of ironic.
Right. So then should we jump ahead to the immunity challenge?
Sure.
So once again, another episode with no reward.
Yeah, so surprising.
Right. They must be getting hungry or getting tired of eating coconut and rice.
Makes you wonder if something fishy's coming up later in the episode.
Right. So it's a kind of an unusual immunity challenge where they have to stand on a piece of plywood that is about 45 degrees, and they have to hold on to a rope. And for the beginning of it, they have little places where they can put their feet, and then they eventually have to move up and just have one foot resting. And then finally, at the end, you have to climb all the way to the top of the piece of plywood and just hold on to the rope with nothing to support your feet other than just the hot sun on the paint.
So it looks like a really challenging challenge. But everyone does great. They make it up to the first 2 rounds with no problem. And finally, everyone gets up to the 3rd round and everyone is still in the game.
Right. So it's a little unusual because usually people don't last this long when it's a situation like that. Right? I mean, usually someone falls out.
Yeah.
So they must not have made it difficult enough.
Maybe. And JLP had even mentioned that it's not a great challenge for the big boys with the endurance, but they were in it just as much as anyone else for a while.
It does not favor the big boys.
So finally on the 3rd tier where there's no footrest, you're just hanging on top, people start to eventually fall off. And we end up with Aileen as the representative for the Titans and then Kitty and Rihanna for the Rebels. And this is where we crank it up a notch and we say you can only use one hand on the rope. And if you switch hands or touch hands, like touch a second hand to the rope, you're out.
And plus your foot can't go past the line.
Right, can't go below the line or touch the line, actually. Yeah.
So we're looking at this challenge and we see Rihanna and Kitty and they're looking pretty strong and Aileen's bent over. She looks like she's in a lot of pain and we're thinking, wow, there's no way she can outlast these two.
Right.
And then
there's sweat pouring off of her and everything. And then Kitty drops out first. Right? She goes down, can't hold on anymore.
And then Jaden from the Rebels tribe yells out to Aileen, they're not going to vote you out after you did all this. You can just hop off. Luckily, she did not listen to that. And Aileen was the last one standing. Rihanna eventually drops out. And the Titans are safe and have immunity tonight.
Yes, and Aileen is very emotional. When asked why she was so emotional by Jonathan, she said because she thought she was going to be voted out tonight.
Quite possibly.
So great. She's very determined. When she puts her mind to things, she seems to be able to do it.
Right.
And before we leave the immunity challenge, we see a lot of goodbyes from the intertribal relations. And even before the challenge, we had seen a little bit of discussion about what had happened last night at Tribal Council, which is interesting because a lot of times you kind of want to play things close to the vest. You don't want to give out too much information, but Winna just stands up and tells everyone, there's a twist, only 3 people voted. Kirby says, I didn't want Charles to go home. So it's interesting how transparent they're being.
Right. But it's because it's a mixture. And so you have friends on the other side. Yeah. Everybody has a friend on the other side. So there's nothing really to keep when it's 2 separate tribes in the beginning of the whole season. Then you have nothing to say to the other team. One thing we didn't talk about at the beginning of the challenge is that Ferris said that he would sit out. It's a surprise move to me.
Yeah, Ferris is one of the stronger players on his tribe, so it did seem odd. But I guess once we got into the challenge and we saw that, as JLP said, the big boys weren't really meant for this challenge, maybe there was a little bit more insight that went into it.
Yeah, the 3 women were the last 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked out. And Ferris is safe tonight, sending the rebels back to Tribal Council. So we get back to the Rebel Beach, and we see at the water well, the middle-aged mafia decides that they're going to put 3 on Alex and 3 on Rihanna, and they'll tell Alex and Rihanna to vote for each other.
Which is weird, because why Mark is believing this? I don't know. He's just going along with the plan, thinks everything is okay.
Right, that he's kind of forgiven and he's back in.
He says he's at their mercy. He's not in the driver's seat tonight, and from our seats at home, we're yelling, well, get in the driver's seat. Make a move.
Yeah.
And then it switches to the water well again, but it's Kitty, Ree, and Caroline. And they're saying, Caroline says, I would do a pinky promise with Ree that they're going to work together. And Caroline is saying, once again, that she's worried about Mark making it to the merge because he has friends over there.
Yeah, so Rihanna is under the impression that they're voting out Mark tonight, and so is Alex. So it looks like we should have 2 votes on Mark and then a 3-3 split on Alex and Rihanna, if that's the plan. You never know.
So does Mark have enough to do it on his own? I mean, if he would need to come up with such a plan that he has to do it, he has to pull it off, voting Caroline or Kitty out, right? So he has to get 4 or 5 votes. And
well, it didn't work last time.
Right. So maybe he's just like, okay, I'm just going to tell them that I forgive them.
No, I understand that, and I understand why he wants to work with them. I'm just surprised that he believes everything is okay. How can he not see that? But as we see, everything becomes chaos, right? I mean, everything's falling apart. So Caroline wants to vote out Mark. That is what she wants to do. But Jaden gets a little confused, and then Caroline becomes confused.
Yeah, so what we're noticing here is that Mark will not leave anyone alone. And we even talked about that in yesterday's episode, that can be a really beneficial plan. You're just in every conversation and nothing can get by you and no one can talk about you if you're there.
Mm-hmm. And that's what happened.
Right. He doesn't ask if he can join. He just walks up and, joins the conversation. But no searching for an idol.
Yeah, I don't know why Mark didn't try that.
I think that's really Mark's only way to pull off a Caroline blindside, or really any way to save himself. If he was not trusting the Middle-Age Mafia, would be to find an idol, because we know that Rihanna voted against him last time when he thought that they were working together, and Jaden is pretty tight with Caroline and Alex, maybe, but that's still not enough, so you definitely need an idol. So I was surprised he wasn't voting or looking, but he was being effective with just his presence.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very good. But I'm surprised about Eden. First off, Eden didn't even know the plan. He went to Caroline and said, wait, I'm confused. What are we doing? And second off, I thought Eden liked Mark. I'm not sure why he just left Mark hanging. Why is he?
I don't remember.
Is Caroline that persuasive? Maybe she seems extremely persuasive. So maybe that's why. But Eden kind of has just like floating. I don't see him making any moves now.
Yeah, so Eden and Mark did their invisible hand alliance way back at the beginning, and I think that they pulled off well, but I'm wondering if Eden's trying to go under the radar until the merge, and maybe he's looking at Mark as collateral damage. Maybe there's like a personal rift, maybe they just aren't getting along, I don't know. But yeah, it is weird that their alliance was really built up at the beginning, and now it's just basically non-existent.
Right, I think you're right, Rachel, that he could just be saying, I'm going to distance myself from Mark because Mark is the real troublemaker here, and I don't want to be pals with him. If they're going to get rid of Mark, there's no sense me having a real connection to him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I thought it was funny to watch this whole supposedly easy vote of getting Mark out, and everything just blows up.
Right.
Everyone is confused. I mean, it was just crazy to watch.
Right. The person who designed the whole plan.
She became confused. So
keep it straight.
Yeah, so there were so many plans going around. So there's the plan that we're telling Mark on the split. Then there's the plan that we're telling Rihanna on the split and Alex. And then there's the real plan to get Mark out. And so there's like 4 different versions of how everyone could be voting. And I'm sure it's really difficult to keep straight in your head. I don't think we could even keep it straight on the couch. And Caroline's out there without any paper, without food, and she's trying to keep this straight. Remember who she's talking to, remember who's in the conversation. So it's totally understandable why she got confused.
Absolutely.
And she got confused in front of Mark.
Yes.
Mark caught
Right.
it. He said, oh, you said that I should vote for this. Oh, you did? Oh, or he should vote. So Mark is keeping it straight in his head.
And you would think that would raise a red flag for him, but it didn't seem to set off any alarm bells.
I thought it was from his facial expressions, but I guess not. Because
we didn't see any side conversations that it really said anything.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have anybody to go to.
I think that's
true.
right. So Jaden, as we've heard in the past, really prefers to just have one conversation where he's told what to do and that's it.
Pick up the torch and walk away, right?
Yeah, and so he was saying he's getting too many conversations today. He's really confused. And so we've seen Jaden lay low in the past, and I think we've heard more from him this episode than past episodes. And he's really struggling to keep everything straight, along with everyone else. So we are worried going into tribal council. Is Jaden going to be the one to kind of spill the beans to Mark that he's going home? We don't really know what's going to happen. And there's so much confusion that right before tribal, Caroline says, listen, we just are going to have to put the votes on Alex. We don't have time to put it on Mark.
That's the only plan.
Which is now everyone's confused again.
So we're switching the vote again, but I agree with her. I think that so many people were not sure about what they were doing. If something went wrong and Mark stayed, it would totally annihilate their relationship. And right now, Mark's a number for her. So you have to strike before he knows it.
Well, all right, then we go to tribal. And once again, it's unbelievable. It's just chaos over and over again this episode.
Lots of whispering, trying to decide. Jaden not sure.
Yeah, Jaden not sure. Stick to the plan. Well, what is the plan, you know?
Right.
And it looks like Mark is listening, like what's going on. Alex is trying to speak. They're talking over there. I mean, it was just something else.
Yeah, Mark heard his name come up, right? Was it Kitty who said that to Jaden?
Yeah, she said something about Mark, and then he said, oh, I'm just checking in. I wasn't part of that conversation. What's the plan now? Like seconds after they confirmed the plan. So I think Mark, it may not be strategic because he doesn't seem to have any sense that he's going home, but it is a good strategy regardless to just keep asking and keep getting people confused so that they can't vote you out. So right before we think we're about to vote, Caroline leans over to Rihanna and she says, listen, Mark's not going to happen, so go for Alex. And so this is awkward because Alex is talking and he sees that they're whispering and he's right next to Rihanna. So we're wondering, did he hear it? It didn't seem like it, but we're really cutting it down to the wire to get the plans going.
And then Jonathan has another surprise.
Yeah, so 2 in a row. That's a surprise for us.
I thought it was going to be exactly what happened last night. Did you guys thought it would be like that?
I thought since it's a different group, yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Why not?
A different tribe, have them do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And let them try it. Right.
Yeah, I think that would have been exciting because with these dynamics as well, 3 people being immune and only 3 people having votes would have a huge impact on what happens. So.
Right.
And we kind of have, instead of Kirby and Ferris, it's Caroline and Mark, right? So it would be very interesting to see. But that's not what the surprise was.
So the surprise is that someone is going over to the Titans tribe. And it's not going to be based on number of votes. It's going to be anyone whose name is written down will then go to rocks and has the opportunity to go over to the Titans if they draw the blue rock. So we're all thinking at home, well, Mark should just write his name down. He has Valerina on the other side and Winna, and he is not very welcome on this tribe, so he should really flip.
He has a better chance of surviving over there
Sure.
than he does on this tribe.
And then Reese says, I'll go. And I'm thinking, why would you put her name down? She is Kirby. She has such a strong ally over there. I don't think I would vote for her.
Right. I remember thinking that if Rihanna goes to the other side, she's through the merge. I mean, she's going to be
for sure.
one of the last 5 people.
Right.
Right. I mean, she seems to have it going on.
It would have been fun to see an extra challenge, though, just for fun.
Right.
But anyway, so Caroline is kind of whispering into everyone, just vote for Alex. Let's send Alex over. He doesn't have any allies on the other tribe. It also feels like Alex doesn't have any allies on this tribe, so it doesn't seem to really matter.
Alex, and they said Kelly's on the other tribe.
Yeah, Alex does say that he's hoping not to go there and see his good pal, Kelly. So we're all confused. Caroline's saying stick to the plan. No one knows what the plan is. And finally, we go and write down names. And it turns out that Rihanna and Alex are the only 2 who receive votes. So I guess they voted for each other or for themselves. But I'm surprised that that Mark didn't vote for himself. It seems like if Rihanna and Alex wanted to work together, they could really destabilize Caroline by putting her name down and sending her to the other side. It seems like we could have done a little bit more with this.
Yeah, I think destabilizing Caroline would have been a cool thing to see.
But had Mark done that, then he's really in hot water.
Yeah, he couldn't do it.
Well, not for Mark, but for Rihanna and Alex. They both seem content working with this group, but they're noticeably on the outside.
Right.
I guess it would be good for viewership. I don't, not for anyone's game, but obviously for viewership to see.
Right.
Oh, she has to build all these relations up again. What can she do it?
Right. Rihanna and Alex should have just each picked another person within the group.
Yeah, why didn't they?
And then there would be 4 people in there.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So it lessens their chance of going over, but it stirs up the pot more.
It also would have been interesting to see the tribe function without Caroline, because we really saw today she's the only one making plans. She's telling everyone who to vote for. No one knows what's going on without checking with her first. Even at tribal, someone whispered something and then they had to whisper it over to Caroline. They couldn't even answer the question. So just kind of seeing how things worked without her would have been fun.
Yeah, she's a powerhouse. There's no doubt about
She's
it.
the only one thinking tonight. So it turns out that Rihanna and Alex both have to draw rocks. They each take a rock and they turn it over. And Alex is heading over to the Titans.
I don't know. I think that was kind of a dumb move.
For him to go?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess he doesn't really have, people are saying he doesn't have friends over there. But he might go over there and be welcome arms. Everyone open arms. He'll be happy to see him. Whereas maybe someone else, they wouldn't have been, right?
Well, it's not,
Like Mark?
Or Kitty.
he's not going to act as a spy for the middle-aged mafia because he's really not a part of that alliance. So it seems like it's in his best interest to kind of just see what he can do in terms of making new relationships. So I feel like for Alex's game, it could be good, but it also is kind of the same. He really doesn't have many allies on either tribe, so it seems kind of just whatever.
I think he'll do better on this other tribe, to tell you the truth. I think he'll do better.
He might, because both Kirby and Ferris are kind of recruiting to go at each other, and he could join in with Ferris and Aileen, and they could come up with a pretty good plan for him.
Right. I think it's better because he's going nowhere at this other tribe. Is Mark and Alex were on the bottom, right? Those two aren't going to, that's not going to change.
Yeah.
So at least maybe he has an opportunity to go up the ranks.
Right. So if they lose again, it's Mark or Rihanna who are going to go.
Well, I don't know about Rihanna. Well, I guess so. I don't know what would happen. Yeah. You know, that's the great thing about Survivor. Every day is different. You stay that one more night.
And
The
things
next
change.
morning,
Yeah.
it's a whole new landscape, whole
Right.
different game. So let's see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing the reunification of Kelly and Alex. See if they get along better now that they've had a little bit of time apart. It looked like from the previews, probably not, but
Right.
you never know.
Yeah, it looks like Kelly is out to start playing her game.
Alex's eyes were big.
Yeah, well, I thought it was funny. Kirby's like, I don't know what's going on with her, but it's Hurricane Kelly or something like that. So we'll see Kirby said she doesn't know where all this is coming from, but
And it does seem like Kelly really calmed down around the time of the tribe swap, which was when she was separated from Alex. So
yes,
maybe
you're right. Yeah.
they just kind of really get on each other's
Right.
nerves.
Yeah, Alex is back and she's not taking it.
It'll come down to the final 2.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Maybe they'll team up tomorrow night.
Right.
We'll have to see. So we're looking forward to see how this shakes out with the tribe. We're getting hints that we're getting very close to the merge, so we're excited to see who makes it and how that landscape looks. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. And then in the meantime, head over to Instagram at ATA Survivor, TikTok at ATA Survivor, and send us an email at ataustraliansurvivor@gmail.com or give us a call at 475-4podcast. Let us know who you would have sent over to the Titans if you were on the Rebels tribe tonight and what you think about Alex going over there. How will it affect the game? Thanks, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.